Yeah, it's a really big victory, Bev. Look, this wasn't a criminal case. However, it was a civil case. So that means Donald Trump has been found liable in the eyes of a jury in terms of defaming E. Jean Carroll and also sexually abusing her. We know that originally E. Jean Carroll was accusing the former president of rape, an incident that she says took place in the late 1990s. But the jury went with sexual abuse instead and defamation. Now, according to the jury, President Trump will have to pay $5 million to E. Jean Carroll. He, of course, is appealing this and saying that this is a hoax, it's not true, saying he doesn't even know who E. Jean Carroll is. So that's very much an expected outcome from the former president. And I would imagine we would hear more from him tonight in the United States when he is expected to give a town hall on CNN of all networks from New Hampshire tonight.
Yes, that is such an unexpected decision for him to go on CNN that he's been so critical of the past. But, you know, he's lambasted this outcome, saying it's a very unfair trial. He made very little effort to defend himself in court.
Yeah, and that's, I think, something that played into the verdict. At least that's what a lot of legal experts here in the United States are saying. And you are seeing E. Jean Carroll and her attorneys point that out, that he didn't even bother really showing up in court. And then you have this blockbuster decision. You know, he's defending himself now, saying this is political, that it's part of a witch hunt, a very predictable response from him. But we'll see if he continues to dig in from here, because there is a chance that this could impact his reelection bid in some form, whether it's in the Republican primary or in the general election.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fact it is a civil case, not a criminal one. So what do you think the fallout is going to be for him politically?
Politically, it's hard to say. And yesterday we were talking to a number of people in, you know, the broader Republican universe and Trump universe about what this really means for him. And the opinion really seems split. I think in the Republican primary, where he is leading by leaps and bounds over his other primary opponents or potential primary opponents, I don't think it matters as much. I think a lot of Republicans are dug in. If they support Trump, they support Trump. They will continue to back him. In fact, you've seen some polling that would suggest that even with his other legal issues, voters say they would still vote for him on the Republican side. However, I personally think it becomes more of an issue, or it could become more of an issue going into the general election. You know, you hear so much about suburban women voters and women voters in general in the United States really being a key swing vote in general elections. And this has been a swing vote that you know, has been up in the air over the past few election cycles, but Republicans have continuously lost. I imagine that this verdict will not help him with, you know, certain blocks of women voters. So in a general election, I could see it potentially hurting him more.
Yeah. Another politician sitting in Congress at the moment is George Santos. He's been embroiled in controversy since he won the election. He's now facing charges. Do we know yet what those charges are?
Well, I think they're related to the fact that he has spread or, you know, allegedly made falsehoods about himself, you know, while running for elected office and, you know, while in elected office, allegedly. You have heard, you know, George Santos, you know, tell a number of, you know, make a number of statements that have turned out to be mistruths, like talking about how, you know, his mother died on 9/11. It didn't, you know, or was in the World Trade Center at that time. Didn't appear that that was true. You know, a number of other falsehoods or, you know, statements that have proven to be falsehoods. So, and there's questions about, you know, how that has impacted campaign finance, whether it was misleading voters. And you're starting to hear and see more Republicans back away from him. This has become, you know, a distraction to many Republicans. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but I think this has been a long time coming because we've been covering the fact here in the U.S. and on the campaign trail that he has told what have turned out to be a number of mistruths.
Yeah. The debt ceiling deadline is looming, of course. Friday, more talks are scheduled. Is there any progress, and how much of a test is this for Kevin McCarthy's leadership?
Yeah, as of last night, there was no progress. In fact, you saw President Biden at the White House and Speaker Kevin McCarthy at the Capitol give dueling press conferences, if you will, just an hour after they met with other congressional leaders at the White House. I think it's a major test of Kevin McCarthy's leadership in terms of whether he can unite the Republican caucus and get the Republican caucus to vote along with what the agreement he reaches, or if he reaches agreement with President Biden. But I think there's also a real test as to whether President Biden, can do this and what his leadership looks like. We know the economy is not a strong issue for him in the polls. This will have economic impacts. As the president, he's really in the driver's seat here. You have the Senate Republicans teaming up with House Republicans on this. So that makes, puts a lot more pressure on President Biden to try to reach some agreement. But both sides really appear to be dug in.
Yeah. Good to speak, Julia. Thanks so much.
Thank you.